Welcome to a special edition of the Richmond Film Network podcast, featuring actors from the short film Monday, a White Balloon Productions film directed by Richmond Film Network founder Lisa Giles, made for the first ever Global City producer 48-hour film project.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
I guess I'll introduce myself. My name is Lewis Rivers, and I played the role Jackson. I was a podcaster.
I'll go second. Yeah. Hi, I'm Leah Webster, and in the film Monday, I play disgruntled office worker.
Yes, you did. I am Lisa Gladowski, and I played seductive woman.
Yes, you did.
I'm Lamont Gonzalez, and I played the third.
All right. Hey, Lamont. My name's Lee Lawson, and I was Richmonder in the film. And the way I was able to be a part of it, I was really happy to be a part of it. Lisa asked me to be a part of this film, and I'm very excited to meet you guys as well.
Yeah, that's really dope. So, like, how I found out about this, I was actually in New York for Thanksgiving, and she messaged me, Lisa, the director. I believe she texted me if I was interested, and then I said, of course, I want to do more work, and I was excited. That was a 48-hour film as well.
Lisa is the director, but she's also the producer of the whole 48-hour chapter in Richmond, head of the whole organization.
Well, piggybacking off of Lisa, this was my first time meeting her and working with her, and she was wonderful and led such a great room. I got involved in this project through Will, who's one of the producers. He and I have been friends for a bit. And this was my first 48 project, and it was really fun. But I was in North Carolina on Friday, the day before, and you all know we don't know if we're cast or not as that's happening.
Right.
So I was just kind of sitting there wondering if I had to wake up at 4 a.m. or not. And then around 1 a.m., that's when we got that email, right? It was kind of around then when we were all cast. And I asked Will, I said, oh my goodness, what time is call time? And he said 7:45 a.m. I said, okay. So I got up at 4 a.m. and got in the car at 5 and drove 2.5 hours. It was so fun though. I couldn't stop smiling because I just love the chaos of something like this. I love it. But yeah, so thrown right in and happy to have done so. It was awesome.
Yeah, this was my second 48-hour in Richmond, and I'm slightly new to Richmond, so this was a really great welcome. It was such a great experience, and 48 hours, like you said, are just so chaotic, but in the best way, and just being able to write it and edit it and shoot it all in 48 hours is an insane feat. And I know we just kind of show up on set and we, do the parts, but there's so much to it that goes into it from the cast and the crew, and just very grateful to be a part of it. So
it's a testament to the team to have had it go so smoothly. And you could tell just arriving there that people knew what they were doing. People had it figured out, had backup plans in place. And just the idea of getting a genre and a line of dialogue and an idea Friday night, writing it until it's done, shooting everything on Saturday, editing everything Sunday, and submitting it by 7:30 p.m. is wild.
It is a chaotic time. This is my third one that I did. The first time that I was in one where I didn't write it, though. So it was a little bit less stressful for me just to be able to wake up and get the part and not having to have been up until 1 or 2 a.m. trying to write it and then be on set the next day. But I'm sorry, Lamont, you didn't have a chance to speak.
I think this is my third or fourth 48. I've done a few in the past, like a few years ago. I was kind of nervous at first because I looked at my phone and I was like, okay, it's 1 a.m. I didn't see the email. I guess I'm going to bed. And then I woke up and then I set an alarm for 3 a.m. just so I could check my email. And I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was like, oh man, why did I set this alarm in the first place? Because I completely forgot. And then I saw it go out and I was like, okay. And it felt good. Normally I do a lot of films where I write them, I produce, and I hire people. And this felt good to not have to do all of that stuff again. Just show up to set.
Nice. What do you have coming up in 2026?
what I have coming up next. So I started a production company and it's called Wimp Media. So like we make interview style content with that. And so I probably will start doing a little bit more on the working outside. So go to specific gyms, um, training facilities that they run with other athletes, get some training from them and record it just to promote their business. But away from that, I'm also planning on writing more and directing more and being in some of those things that I write too. But yeah, so I try to stay busy. I have a lot of different passions, so I try to make sure I touch each one. But it's good that with directing and writing and acting being really the main passions, that I can kind of always be around it no matter what I'm doing. And whichever one is doing the most for me, that's probably what I'll pay attention to the most.
I love that you said that. I'm also someone who wears a lot of hats in this industry, and I get asked a lot, well, what do you like more? And I can never answer that question because, like you just said, kind of whatever's in front of me is what I am really invested in. But let me be the jerk and ask you, is there any of those hats that you prefer over the other?
I truthfully would say writing and directing. It used to be acting. On a different day, I would say acting, but I like with writing and directing, I have a lot more control of what's coming out and what we're going to do, rather than me being the actor and having to wait to figure it out, which is fine sometimes. But when you're not guaranteed a role or you're auditioning, that stressful thing that you go through, and sometimes you wait a while, sometimes you get ghosted. And so dealing with that can be hard sometimes. And so it makes you want to have a little bit more control of what's going on. You know what's going to happen. You being the director and the writer, you know what's going to go on. But then there's days I just watched Marty Supreme, and that makes me just want to be a actor full time. And so yeah, it's off and on. But if you had to ask me, writer, director, and even in those two, you had to choose one, I'd choose director.
Awesome.
How about yourself?
I really love them all equally because it uses different parts of my brain. What's coming up next is I am directing a show, The Secret Garden. Rehearsals start Monday, actually. But I will be auditioning when they come in, not giving up any of the opportunities that might come about. But yeah, I love it all. What about Lamont? What about you?
I really want my main focus to be acting, but at the same time, there's other things that I really like doing. Before I even started making films, I was a VFX artist. I started acting and then doing VFX, and then now I was like, okay, let me try writing. So that's how I got into like writing and directing. Sometimes I'll do stunt performer stuff. I've done like a few breakdancing spots for the commercials, and like I did Dope Sick as a breakdancer for the Hulu show. So I'm kind of just open to anything. It's kind of hard for me to pick one thing.
I think that's amazing to hear, though. You guys all talk about how you wear different hats. I think it's super important as an actor to have those different hats, because if you are working in smaller scale or working on 48 hour, it's awesome to be able to jump in and be able to help us, sound or help with the video or whatever it is. And just having all those abilities, I think, help you become a better actor, because you can actually see what goes into the actual set and what goes into the actual filming. You guys have done 48 hours in the past, maybe first time, maybe fourth time, but were there any assumptions prior to arriving on set that were kind of proven wrong whenever you got there for this film specifically, Monday?
For me, I was just so excited to jump into something chaotic and just roll with the punches. So because it was my first 48, I was just excited to experience it all and see how it all got done. And then Will asked me to stick around for a bit, so I got to see the other location, which is fun because then, Leah, that's how you and I got to meet and chat too. Otherwise, I wouldn't have met some of the other actors. But I think just being able to take it in and see how it all works. Now I have assumptions. Now I know what a successful 48 looks like. Then I'll carry that into the next one. And then someone can ask me that question again. I go, well, it wasn't as fun as Monday.
I guess to piggyback off what you said is how organized it was. So like I'm going in thinking it's gonna be chaotic just because we only have 48 hours. The script was made 4 a.m. and I didn't get a chance to read it till on my way there, really, like around 8 o'clock. Like 7:45 in the morning. 'Cause I think my call time was 8:30, and so yeah, I didn't really get a chance to deep dive into it until I got there. But just seeing how everything was ran, how they set the microphone on me, the makeup, and just making sure I knew where I was going when it was time for me to be up there. It's like, oh, yeah, they on point, they on point, and so
Yeah.
that was really nice. It made me a lot more comfortable. It calmed me down with anything that I had going on because I'm like, okay, we're good, like we're squared away, and so they know what they're doing. Makes me feel more confident in just focusing on what I have to do, and so it helped me a lot.
For me, I guess the assumption of this would have been like each one has just been better and better. I've done 3 in a short period of time, but the first one was just me and my buddy, our director, dropped out on us like 5 days before we were supposed to do this 48-hour thing, and so we kind of pulled together bare bones crew and came together and pulled it off. We got second place, so that we were pretty excited about that. Pulled it off, but it was a bare bones crew. The second one I did was with Will. He was directing it, so it was obviously way more professional and polished. And then the
Yes.
third one that I did was with Lisa, where she was directing it. So that was even, not to take anything away from Will's, but just even more of a bigger. She had assembled the all-star crew from from the previous years, which is exactly what she had done, and it was just amazing. So I was just really excited to be even asked, to be asked to be part of another person's vision was pretty awesome for me.
Yes. This was my second one. First one was a great experience. I was part of the hamburger. And so with this one, I had like good expectations going into it. And I was just a little bit nervous with this one because I did have like a short amount of time to learn it because I was the first one to go. And it was a good chunk of a monologue. And so I was like, had to really try and make sure I understood it. And like when we got on set too, the other part that was really, really well done was how we rehearsed for a moment before we actually got started. So the rehearsal just helped me so much to get through it. I was able to get comfortable with it as we kept going over it again. And so with Lisa, I was really happy that she gave me an opportunity to rehearse like that. And then she was so understanding and patient with me as well. And so that just helped me a lot going through the process. So it was an amazing experience. Yes. Oh, and also Hamburger was the winner of Summer of 2025. Michael Tibbs, he did a good job directing and writing it.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't want to assume anything. The question's about assuming, but I'm sure as actors, we've all had some set experiences that didn't live up to our expectations. But I think for this one specifically, because it is a 48-hour, there is some worry or hesitation of like, okay, things are moving so quickly, but we came in, everyone had a plan, everyone had a job, everyone knew what they were supposed to be doing, and it just felt very organized and it felt very safe. It was a very fun experience and a fun set with a lot of great cast and crew and a lot of people that, that's the best part about 48 hours, to get to meet people that you haven't met before, and you get to make contacts and then work with them in the future. It was definitely different than the 48 hours I have experienced in the past. No shade to them, but it was a great experience.
Do you feel like the pressure of having something be so quick change how we approach scenes? For me personally, I felt like there's no time to overthink, so sometimes scene work is even more organic, more honest, because you truly can't start to spiral. Does anyone else have anything to add to that?
Yes. For me, honestly, my moments, I feel like I wasn't delivering the way I wanted to, or I may have missed the line and it was in my head. Thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm totally messing this up for everybody because everyone's looking at you, lights on you, everyone's quiet looking at you to deliver your lines. And I think if I didn't have just a little bit of experience, I would have folded in some ways. Honestly, the comfort of the group and the experience that I had kind of helped me get through that instinctually when it came to the lines. So it was really dope. And I feel like I've grown as an actor just from that experience to just stay calm, do the best you can, and be confident in yourself. Don't have imposter syndrome too much, and just go with it. And just trust that they chose you for a reason. So just do what you do because they chose you specifically. And so be proud of that. That's just kind of how I looked at it. And honestly, too, I was just coming back from the flu. My face, the night before we filmed, my face looked like I got in a fight with Mike Tyson. The full left side of my face was swollen. It was still a little bit swollen on set, just a little bit. I mean, my voice was really, really hoarse. So that played a crazy role in my brain. Like, yo, I don't know how I'm going to do this today. But Lisa helped calm me down. I even told her, like, my voice a little bit hoarse. And so she said, man, we all not feeling the best, you know? And so that kind of calmed me down. So it was cool.
Yeah, I think that the set in general was just really warm and welcoming and safe and productive. And I had a fun little scene I got to do, which was, very intimate. And we had a really good intimacy coordinator, Deanna. And really, we just had to meet each other, start making out, and, go from there. But the way it was all handled was so professional and so it was fun. Like, there was not a single second of that entire shoot where I ever felt uncomfortable or nervous. It just felt like we got to play and tell a story as truthfully as we could for those characters in that moment. And yeah, it's just, I feel like, because you're saying that, oh, I was worried about my voice being hoarse and all these things, and everyone, I'm sure, had something that could make them feel antsy, or, oh no, what if it's fill in the blank? But everyone, Lisa especially, just made it be okay. It's like, oh, great, let's work with that then. Let's change this. Let's adjust this. But my scene was, honestly, I had such a blast. It was so much fun to just be a seductive woman, and that was it was so much fun, and that was what I got to do. I got to go there, have this fun physical scene, and then leave.
Yeah, I'm curious for those, because my call time was at 1:30 p.m. So I had a good amount of time to learn my couple of lines. But for those of you who had that call time at like 7:30, how did you think about your character? How did you learn your lines? Like, what did you do to prepare in that very minuscule amount of time?
Well, I had one line. Very easy.
The line. You had
I
the
had
one.
the line. Because like, okay, I just like need to not mess up this line.
What was it? There's a first time for everything.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Oh my God, I'm gonna butcher this one line.
I have a question for the group, because this was my first 48. Is there always a required line of dialogue in these projects?
Yeah. Yes. And I guess we've all seen it, right? We've all seen it.
I've seen it.
I have not.
You haven't.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
It was edited really well. Shout out to Alex, and also the composer. I like the music. I think it really set the tone, set the vibes really well. Yeah, I loved how it was shot, the color grade, everything. It felt really professional, like really, really well done. I was very impressed with how well it looked in such a short period of time. Crazy, but yes, yeah.
I think it's kind of cool the way they have it. The line has to be delivered verbatim. You know what I mean? To ensure, I guess the reason it would be to ensure that nobody's coming there with a fully polished film that they've been working on for the past like 3 months to debut at the 48-hour film festival. But I like that, and it keeps it fair. I would imagine, and it must be. It's delivered. It has to be delivered. Exactly right.
Is it the same line for every project, or
No,
just...
it's different.
No,
it's different in order to, I believe, and nobody's given me the reason, but it is to ensure that nobody comes there with a full, if you don't know the line until that night, you can't have already filmed it. So the prop also, the prop is kind of a cool thing. So it changes every competition. It changes.
So it's character, prop, line, and genre.
Correct.
You get.
Yes.
And then you got to go make it up and write the whole.
Just give the cinematographer a shout out. His name is Curtis Boggs. Also, the composer Casey Lionheart and the editor Alex DeBoard. All three of them did an exceptional job. Just had to make sure throw their names out there.
Well, the quality of everything is so good. It is so good. It's really hard to believe it was done so quickly. I remember even just like catching a glimpse on the monitor in the room, and it just looked so gorgeous, lighting and everything. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see this whole thing.
And I'm happy when we saw it on the big screen. And that was my first time seeing myself on the big screen, so that was kind of cool.
Was everybody else able to attend the screening that Saturday?
Yeah.
Yes, we had a private crew screening, so it was private at Movieland, Bowtie. Bowtie, or is it Movieland? But we had a private screening there, and that was really cool. Felt all legit and official, pulled up like, yeah, we got the private screening. Didn't have to pay no money going to the theater. It was cool. It was cool.
VIP.
VIP. Also, ooh, the person who did it's not called thumbnail. What's the cover? He did a really good job. He took really good photographs as well. The poster. I really liked it. Benson. Benson, that's his name. I don't want to butcher his last name. But Benson.
Okay,
Petrzak.
without spoilers, favorite moments of the production or something that we'll always associate with the film. I think mine will be fake blood. That's all I'll say.
Yes, I'll piggyback on that. And also, that'll be a very memorable experience for me.
What was that like working with a little fake blood?
It was awesome. I love anything that I can play around with makeup wise, and our makeup person was incredible, very very open to trying a bunch of different things and was explaining everything. Kaylee Brim Linton, our makeup artist, she explained kind of what she was doing each time. She explained all of the products that she was using. She explained the smells that were going to come out of the products that she was using for me. So she was really awesome. But yeah, it was a great time. I love being covered in blood. Yeah, does anyone else have any memorable moments or things you'll take with you from the specific set?
Oh, I'm definitely going to take a lot with me with this one. This was the biggest production crew, and then you had the lights and stuff. So it was, in its own way, it was a little bit. I was a little bit nervous. It can be a little bit intimidating, and so I think with taking that in, I'm gonna be a lot more comfortable working in a big crowd like that. And I'm happy that we were ready to go, like right on point. We just stayed on point with the time and stuff. Just be as prepared as you possibly can, so that you can be confident in what you have to do. And the more confident you are in what you have to do, the better your performance will be. So I have a lot to take in from that experience, 100, and it's gonna help me, I think, moving forward completely. 9 actors and 26 crew, so we had a packed crowd, packed crowd. But what about you
More
guys?
fun that way, anyway.
Yes, yes. And to piggyback off that with the intimacy thing, that was my first time ever talking with the intimacy coach. I actually kind of was enjoying the questions that she was asking. I was just curious about the whole process. I'm like, so this is what goes on when it comes to I guess when you see the movies and stuff, and it's the sex scenes and stuff like that. Like it was cool. She did a good job. She did really,
Yeah,
and
she was great. And she was the whole scene, and before and after. She was really great with us about check-ins, and she had a bag with her that had everything you could possibly need. Breath mints and a lint roller. I couldn't believe she had that. I needed a lint for the bra I was wearing, and she's like, "Oh, here you go." She's like a fairy godmother. Just there. Worked with several intimacy coordinators before, and had both positive and negative experiences with them. And Deanna was so positive. It was such a good. It was just such a good addition to the set and the crew and everything. She said something to me that I really liked, which was because I was very comfortable with the things she was asking of me to do. And she said, "Okay, if you change your mind, just let me know." I said, "Of course." She goes, "Sometimes you don't know what your boundaries are until you're in the middle of it. That's okay too." And so it was just, it was she's just, everyone should want her on their set. She's really wonderful. But I think it was a really good teamwork situation too, because everyone was so comfortable, then we got to really play and experiment with things. And then I think between the actors, Lisa and Deanna, we got to come up with the best case scenario of that scene. And I think that wouldn't have been possible if it hadn't been a safe environment, because it was so safe, we were able to be like, "Oh, actually, yeah, let's try that. Let's try that. Let's try that. And then that rolled into what it became, which I think was really tastefully done. Yeah.
What was being part of this project? What would you say you learned about yourself?
I think for me, I can sometimes struggle with like imposter syndrome. Oh, I'm not good enough, or like never gonna make it, or whatever it is. And I think something that this project taught me is that like when you are in a safe space, and this being such a safe environment, you feel like you can go and be yourself, and you feel like when you get there and you're surrounded by all this other creative and crew, that you just feel comfortable with yourself, and you feel like, you know what, everyone else is here. I was chosen for a reason. I'm happy to be here. I'm passionate about what I do. And having people there to kind of say, yeah, exactly, and kind of feed into your confidence a little bit, I think that is something that I'll take with me, because it's so important. Because if you haven't been on a set like this, that's awesome. But sometimes you might go on and it's competition based, right? Like who's the better actor, who's the better director, whatever it is. But when you're all there to provide something that you're passionate about, it's a lot easier to feel a little bit like, okay, I'm safe here. I can do what I love without being judged. And not only that, but I'm being celebrated for it. And being celebrated with other actors and other creatives is just an awesome feeling. So that's something I'll take, because again, just working with you guys was so cool, and got to meet a lot of new folks, and just feels good to do what you're passionate about, and also have that backup where people are kind of saying, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I guess for me, I'm not always going to feel perfect going into something like this. And sometimes you may have your routines. I have my own routines, and I wasn't able to do all of my routines, especially coming from the flu and still not feeling 100%. I wasn't feeling like me. And so sometimes that can be discouraging, but I had no choice. I still had to show up and do what I had to do. And so it kind of taught me you're not always going to have that perfect routine going into something. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit bumpy, and you just kind of have to work your way around it and adapt. And I think a big thing for me was just adapting, dealing with what I had going on, the cards I was dealt. And yeah, that was something I learned about myself.
Nice. What I learned about myself when I got to set, even though it was only one line, I was looking around. I was like, I don't know anybody here. Like, so it was for me just realizing that that I could still just do it without having any backup or somebody there to a confidence builder. Even though it was one line, it was just something that I hadn't thought about until I got to set and realized, oh shoot, I don't know anyone at all here, that I can talk to afterwards or whatever. But it was exciting, and just the fact that I could get there and even do it, deliver that one line, hopefully the right way.
Yeah, I think it's nice. It's nice to know that because I think I had about 2 hours of sleep. It's nice to know that I can function on set with very little sleep. So I'm going to take that little nugget of information project with me.
I thought I had to drive for 30 minutes, but yours was 2 hours in such a short period of time too. 4 in the morning.
2 hours and 40 minutes. But you know what? I got to see the sunrise. There was snow. It was beautiful.
Sure,
Would do it all over again.
yeah, kudos to you. What about you, Lamont?
Honestly, I've gotten to the point sometimes where like whenever I get to set, I say fuck it at that point. I just try to clear my head and just black out. I'm just like I don't remember what happened. It was like you did good. And I was like, all right, I guess that's all that matters. Because then I start overthinking if I don't just say fuck it.
Yeah, I think sometimes too, at least for me, having one line can be more scary or even more detrimental than having a whole monologue, because then you
Sure.
start thinking, what if I say it this way? What if I say it that way? And what if it's this? What if I position my body this way? And what if I wear this thing and my hair is this way? And I think sometimes, yeah, like it sounds like we're all kind of on the overthinker train, where it's like can
It-
be a little detrimental.
Maybe 48s are really good for this group so that we don't.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what we're gonna take with us with this, is that we don't have to overthink.
I literally forgot the line before they started like rolling. They're like, "All right, rehearsal's done," and then I got to my place, and I was like, "Oh shit, what was the line again?" And I literally grabbed my phone and was like,
Again, you couldn't mess it up. You had the line.
"Exactly."
Lisette, you said that you would not change driving in the sunrise and in the snow for 2.5 hours, but is there anything that you would change or do differently next time you're on a 48 or just on a film set in general?
No, I thought I was so happy that whole weekend. I think it just went really well, and I think I wouldn't have wanted it to go any differently. I think how everything lined up was exactly how it was meant to be. And again, I was asked the question, "Hey, do you want to hang out a little later and just be on set after I wrapped?" And if I had said no, I wouldn't have met the rest of you and just had those wonderful side conversations. And so I think it just, yeah, I would not change. I would not change a single thing of how it went. What about you?
I 100% agree. Yeah. I mean, not a lot of perfect things in this world, but I feel like that weekend, in my opinion, was perfect. I mean, yeah, there's snags here and there, but it's when you're going into that kind of environment, you're going to have snags like that. So that's kind of expected. But like you said, it was just super welcoming. I got to talk to a bunch of different people, got to meet a whole different group of people. So it was, yeah, it was nice. It would not change.
I agree. And truthfully, I'm happy I did this because I met a lot of people and I genuinely plan on collabing with a lot of you guys here, involving everybody in what I have going on.
It said something about this group having a lot of heart, and I think that's so true. And I think that's why we all had a really successful, wonderful weekend, is because this particular group of people, crew, cast, all of it, there's just something special about this group. And I think it translated the care we all had for this project and for each other. I think definitely translated into our characters onto the screen. And so you can feel that collaboration, that kind of magic bond between everyone in this film. But also I think the story itself is, it makes you think, right? It makes you think about what would you do with your last 5 minutes if you were alive, and that's not a long time. You can't make you can't really go anywhere. So what can you do with it? And I think I yeah, it makes you think about the life you're living.
So if the premise of the film were real, if planet Earth were running out of oxygen and we really have 5 minutes to live, like for real, which character would you become in real life? The botanist trying to save the world, the seductive woman, or the disgruntled employee? I would be the seductive man.
Go on. I want to hear more about that.
Expand and explain.
Like we really about to be raps. I would just want it to have good feelings, towards the back end of my life. That's something I want to remember, the good feelings, not the bad. And so that would be just a good way of ending on a good note. Y'all turn.
I'd also be the seductive woman.
Hey!
But we know that already. We've seen it.
Yeah, you gotta go out with a bang. No, like no pun intended, but like
Literally.
you might as well.
Glad to have inspired you all.
I think I would stick with my character of disgruntled employee. I don't know if I'd go as far as my character does in the film, but I would certainly Slack or email some ex-bosses and let them know my thoughts.
I think I'd be too anxious to not spend every last second trying everything I can. What can you do in 5 minutes?
What about you?
I've got a family, so I'm going to try to do what I can to save the world out there. That's what I'd like to think. But then I guess the reality would probably hit me in the face, and maybe I'd be that disgruntled employee. Who knows, But right now, I'm speaking out of truth and justice. I would say I would try to save the world. What advice would you give to someone thinking about doing a 48? I think the general answer is just be open. Be open to any new opportunity that arises during that 48-hour period, and flexible. Yeah.
Be coachable. I want that on a t-shirt.
I would say talk to everybody you can. you can make so many connections. And there's so much you can learn from, like, if you're an actor, just talking to the director, or like the cinematographer, or the grip and the gaffer. You can learn so much.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Like, just being present and open. And for those of us who had 2 or 3 lines, you could go sit in the break room where you can watch and see how each different department works. Just because it's a 48-hour doesn't mean it's less than any kind of other set. It's still important to learn and see how things work, and especially being on a set like this when people are so welcoming and open to you kind of looking over their shoulder of what they're doing, you might as well, so that when you do get on a set that maybe isn't as welcoming, it's like at least you know what's going on.
Right. And that's why I wanted to stay after I wrapped my performance for like the extra hour, hour and a half, so I can just be around, be a fly on the wall. I can talk to some of the production crew members. You don't know what you're gonna get sometimes, in a good way. Just expect to contribute. It may or may not be in a way you wanted to, but just know that you had hands on that project for it to come about in 48 hours. And trying new things that you may not be comfortable with is a great way to learn. So if you are an actor and you want to do like editing, I think 48 hours would be a perfect way to put yourself in that situation. Try something completely different that you wouldn't normally do.
I'd just like to sum up by saying I look forward to hopefully working with some of you guys here in 2026. That's now my resolution. And I look forward to actually seeing the film for the first time, too. I haven't seen it yet.
It's a great project.
Yeah.
It's a great film. You guys can share your handles like IG, YouTube, whichever you prefer people to reach out to you on.
My Instagram handle is Webster _ like the dictionary. Ways to find the film and kind of keep up with them, that is White Balloon Productions on Instagram.
My Instagram is Lisette.Glodowski, just a dot in between those names.
Mine is all Lawson 88.
Mine is Louis Malik Rivers, my full name. So I just have it. There we go. So y'all can
Mine is Lamont GS.
Yeah.
great seeing y'all again. I really do
I
hope
guess
that
we'll
we can collaborate again in some way. Definitely.
Fantastic.
Yeah, for those of you in Richmond, I want to start kind of like a group of people just making shorts and sketches, and no payments involved, unfortunately, but more of just kind of passion projects, short stuff. So if you want, any kind of filming experience or writing or editing or acting, it's a very small group right now, but if you want to be involved, let me know. And
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm 100% in.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I'll come hang out.
Yeah, come on, shut up. You can stay with me.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this special edition of the Richmond Film Network podcast. Be sure to vote for Monday to win audience choice in the Global City Producer 48-hour film project. Then join us in person at the awards watch party on January 10th at 12 p.m. at the Hop. Everyone's invited,